I have returned to Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado, one of the quintessential national parks, and home to the world-famous cliff dwellings. Right by the park entrance is the main Mesa Verde Visitor and Research Center, which is located inside a big modern building, but it is closed due to the pandemic. This is a sculpture of a Puebloan woman. There is also this really cool sculpture of a climbing cliff dweller, kind of showing the way they would climb up some of the canyon walls here. The main visitor center is actually a pretty good ways from everything else. There is a long road to get to the top of Mesa Verde, so enjoy the scenery on the way up. The main goal of this visit was to do the Petroglyph Point Trail. That starts by the Spruce Treehouse Cliff Dwelling, and I did accomplish that mission. It was a really cool hike, and had the largest petroglyph panel in the park at the end of the trail. I have a separate video on that, which is linked in the description. But now I'm going to take the main loop road and make a few select stops to see the cliff dwellings and other features. Down there is the Square Tower House, a very interesting and somewhat unusual cliff dwelling. The most obvious feature is the namesake square tower, arising from the rest of the complex. This was built around 1100, and the square tower there looks to be 4 stories tall. That's impressive. Now stopping off at the Mesa Top sites. There are a few locations like this that are just some regular Puebloan ruins on the surface, not in giant cliff alcoves, so we are able to walk around them. These are the remains of a village. Actually 3 villages that were built on top of each other over time, between the years 900 and 1100. There is a protective structure built around some of the ruins. This village, or at least the last version, had 3 towers, which were most likely used as defensive measures. Here are the remains of one of them. And down there is an excavated kiva. This one was built in 1074. It was the subterranean spiritual and political center of the community, in use over 900 years ago. Gonna take a look at the Sun Point view, from which we can see a fantastic and historic vista of the canyon. There are several cliff dwellings visible from here, although some of them are kind of hard to see. That one looks kind of important. Most of these cliff dwellings were built around 1200. The 13th century was essentially the peak of cliff dwelling culture, before the turn of the century, 1300, when just about all of them abandoned their spectacular cliff dwelling communities and moved away from Mesa Verde. It appears that this area of the canyon was very popular. Down there is the Oak Tree House. It has about 60 rooms and all the essential cliff dwelling necessities, like kivas and storage rooms. There are two more rather unique cliff dwellings in this neighborhood. That is the Fire Temple, which sounds ominous. It was actually more of a public ceremonial space, and people will gather here from the nearby cliff dwelling communities, and even from farther out places, to party. And right next to the Fire Temple is the new firehouse, which was also built around 1250. I have pulled off at the Sun Temple, another location on the surface, so I can actually explore these ruins. Like the Fire Temple down in the canyon, the Sun Temple here was also more of a ceremonial location, consistently used as a gathering place 800 years ago. This structure does have some impressive masonry walls. Obviously these are just the ruins of the Sun Temple, but at one time these walls were about 14 feet high. Way over there is the Cliff Palace, the largest cliff dwelling of Mesa Verde, with about 150 rooms and 23 kivas that served a population of 100 people inside that colossal cliff alcove, truly one of the marvels of indigenous American history. Unfortunately, this is the best view I'm going to be able to get of it on this visit, as that whole area is currently closed off. The loop road on that mesa that goes to the Cliff Palace overlook, and also the balcony house and some other stuff, is off limits right now. Yep, the road is closed. Now I am taking a quick look at the far view sites. There's no cliff dwellings here, but it is still a fascinating complex. There are 5 separate ruins to hike around and visit. This was the most populated area of the mesa from 900 to 1300. There were lots of villages around here, and some of them had defensive towers like this one. Probably the most unique feature of Farview is the reservoir. Archaeological research indicates that this was an attempt by the Puebloans to maintain a reservoir for a water source. It did at some point or another hold water, but it likely wasn't too efficient. At least it's an interesting innovation that was done 1,000 years ago. People in this region are still trying to find ways to efficiently conserve water, so this prehistoric effort is pretty cool to see. It is designated as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. I do have an in-depth tour on the Farview sites if you're interested, as there's a lot more to see. So that's all from Mesa Verde on this trip. It's an incredible place to visit, and I would highly recommend the trek out here. Here in Mancos, Colorado, not far from the park entrance, I wanted to check out the Hogan Trading Post, which is located inside a big Hogan structure. I believe this trading post opened in 1960, so it's been in operation for over 60 years now, and this is about as classic as it gets. This place does have all your trading post essentials. The Hogan definitely maintains its vintage roadside charm, and I love it. There is a mannequin of a Native American. There's also some taxidermy in here. Visitors can buy jackalope mounts here, That's very tempting. I noticed a mannequin cowboy back there behind those animal hides. There are some bows for sale. You can even get your own turtle shell. So the Hogan is fantastic. After visiting the national park, make sure to swing by this classic trading post for your souvenirs. It appears that giant arrows have rained on the property. There are lots of old giant painted arrows. These are made out of telephone poles. There are also some teepees, a little Hogan, and a horse for some reason. Again, make sure to stop and see this classic roadside attraction. It is hard to miss all those arrows. And hopefully this treasure will not end up with the same fate as the Twin Arrows Trading Post on Route 66. So that was a brief tour through Mesa Verde National Park, or at least what was open, and the Hogan Trading Post. A super fun time was had. If you enjoyed this video, then please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Also check out my other videos on national parks, roadside attractions, museums, and much more, including my other videos on Mesa Verde. Again, I did film another one on this visit featuring Petroglyph Point. That is linked in the description. Thanks for watching.